Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys making some time to check the video out. Definitely never take that for granted. Today we're going to be having a conversation with the old geezers out there like myself, the over 60 crowd, over 65 crowd. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is that I was looking at my demographics here recently on my YouTube channel. And by far the biggest age demographic on intuitive angling is the over 65 group out there, which is very unusual because most YouTube channels, that is not the demographic they have. You know, social media is usually geared to younger people, but for some reason, we have a lot, the biggest half of the channel members out there, the people that subscribe to the channel are over 60 years old. So I thought it'd be good to have a conversation with you guys about that. So we're going to get into that. So real quick, guys, before we get started here, I just wanted to invite everybody, if you're interested in supporting the content of the channel here, and one of the best ways is to become a channel member. And as a member, you get extra videos that aren't seen by the public every week, access to my personal email address for some memberships. And all you have to do is when you click on my YouTube channel, you'll see a little thing that says join. Hit that button, it gives you all the information. So much appreciated. Okay guys, if you dudes out there, you old geezers like me, if you're like me, I know, I don't care if you're 95, you probably say the same thing. It's like, where in the heck did the time go? It's like, I cannot believe that I blinked and I'm 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. I think that's the common thread amongst everybody as they get older. And I noticed that a lot myself when I think when I hit 50 is when I really started noticing the acceleration in time. And I just can't believe how fast the last 10 years went. It's like, you know, it just literally seems like 10 years ago was yesterday, and it's past. And what I was looking at when I turned 60 years old is, I realized that in less than 20 years, I'm going to be 80. And I look back 20 years ago, and 20 years ago, it seemed like yesterday. I mean, it literally, it was not that long ago. I just can't believe that, you know, it's just life, man, life just goes so quick, you know, once you get to a certain age. I think a lot of that has to do with how busy you get, because the busier you are, the faster life goes, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that it doesn't seem, you don't notice it that much when you're younger, because maybe you don't have quite as much going on. But anyway, I wanted to have a sort of a conversation about the camaraderie amongst older guys out there and talk a little bit about fishing with us. One of the things that I'm sure you guys have noticed that are older, it's like the fishing changes a little bit, because if you're a competitive fisherman and you're getting older, you know that, you know, your performance goes downhill. There's nothing you can do about it. I've analyzed this and thought about it until I'm blue in the face, and there's just a reality to that nobody escapes it. I don't care if you're Van Dam, if you're Rick Clunn, if you're Larry Nixon, if you're Roland Martin, it doesn't make any difference. When you hit 50 years old, you're not going to be catching fish like you used to. And I don't quite understand this, because like in my own situation, it's like I'm in better shape physically than I've ever been in my life. I mean, I can lift more weight now than I could when I was 25, but my fishing performance has tapered off significantly. A lot of different reasons for that. I think as we all get older, the main thing is I think we lose a little bit of our drive and our passion and our focus and our creativity and imagination, and we have more responsibilities. I think when you lump all those things together, your fishing, you know, begins to go downhill a little bit with that. And nobody has been immune to that. So I have pretty much concluded in my own observations in life that is something you have to embrace. If you're watching this and you're in your 20s and 30s and early 40s right now, you all need to enjoy it, because your time's coming pretty quick. It's not going to take very long. You're going to be here like what I am right now, looking back and saying, you know, why can't I catch them like I did back when I was 35 years old? And it's okay, man. That's the thing about it. Like, as older guys, I sort of think it's like it's a responsibility, or it's something that we ought to embrace, is that as we get older, you've got to shift that role a little bit, and you have to take on that role of being like a strong mentor, to guide people, that are in that process of going through life and getting older. Because one of the the gifts of being older is you get wiser. I mean, there's a lot to be said about being older, being wiser, and why all the elders are so respected in the indigenous people, the native tribes and the indigenous cultures around the world. The most respected people in the tribe were always the older people, because they were the smartest. And I look back at my old dad, my dad, for example. It's like, I didn't realize it back when I was in my 20s and 30s, when he would give me advice and tell me stuff. I would just listen to it. Usually it went in one ear and went out the other. And then as I got older, like I am right now, I look back and it's like, that old dude, man, he was right on. He was like, why did I not listen to him? And so that's sort of something that's a superpower we have, you guys out there that are over 60 like me, that a lot of people don't realize. And it doesn't make any difference, because a lot of the people that think they have the answers, that may be younger, they don't have the answers, and they realize that once they get older. Because like myself, I thought I had the answers when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I realized how much I had to learn once I got older, the way I was back then. So I think another thing you guys can relate to a little bit, it's like, think about it, if you're 70 or something right now, think about if you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self everything that you know right now. Would that not be freaking awesome? There are so many things that I could tell myself to avoid so much pain and suffering and heartache and hardship like that. And that's the thing. My dad, he tried to tell me that, and I just wouldn't listen. I'm going to try to tell Elijah the same thing. I don't want him to have to go through what I went through. But coming out on the other end, you learn from it a little bit. But another thing about that is, as I get older, I begin to cherish the interaction that I have with people my own age or older a little bit. Because one of the things you notice as you get older, you notice more of a camaraderie that you have with people your own age or older people out there. A lot of it has to do with just sort of the generations that you came up into, and you can relate to a lot of the same stuff. Because like myself, there's, if you're my age, you remember when the Bee Gees were, super, cool, and everybody listened to him back in the 70s. If you're a little bit older, you remember watching the Partridge Family and the Brady Bunch when you're a little bit. A lot of people, if they're younger, they can't relate to that. But as you get older, you start sharing those things with people. And a lot of the friends I have that are my own age, I mean, one of the most neatest or cool things is like when we reminisce about when we were younger. Not that you have to live in the past, because the main thing is it's so important for everybody to constantly live in the moment, because living in the moment allows you to really appreciate and live life to the fullest. But as you get older, you form memories from the past, and there's periods within your life that stand out, and it's good to revisit those. It's good to revisit those, when you're contemplating, when you're out on the lake fishing, just thinking back, because it can take you back to those times instantly. Like, for example, if I'm doing something and I hear some song from back that was made in 1981, it immediately I become 19 years old again. I mean, it's just like there's a transportation that comes with that. Or if I remember another thing with that, it's like if I get the smell of outboard motor fumes from like a 2-cycle outboard, it takes me back to being on the rod and reel boat dock on Table Rock Lake back in 1968. And I can remember smelling those smells, when those old dudes out there would crank up those 18 horsepower Evinrudes with a rope. So that's one of the things that you start to do when you get a little bit older. But the main thing that I found out about it is like, you really have to embrace whatever age that you are in. I mean, it's like, yeah, if you're 80 years old, there's things you can't do that you could do when you're 30. but there's an aspect of your being that is completely different, and you need to appreciate that and cherish that and try to embrace that as fully as you possibly can. I think that's one of the things that makes people continue to be happy as they get older. And as you get, towards the end of your life, I mean, if you can look back and say to yourself, I've had a life well lived, then that's all that you can really ask for. I think that's the best way to exit this existence and get ready for whatever adventure is next, is by having that awareness out there. But anyway, I just wanted to do this video, guys. I just wanted to give a shout out to all the old geezers out there. I mean, you guys are like a brotherhood to me. As you get older, they become even a little bit more important. And, we can still have a great time catching fish. You can still catch a lot of fish. You can have a great time out there, but it's just a little bit different. And every season of your life in your fishing is different. It's like your season when you're 20 years old is different from when you're 60 years old, and it's constantly changing with that. And you just really have to savor every one of those moments and every one of those periods within your life. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing good out there. Hope all the old geezers are having a good day. And, thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys doing that. And like I said, it means a lot to me. So we'll talk later. See you.